This video is brought to you by FLOWER Magazine. See the description of this video to subscribe now and receive 6 copies each year for more beautiful interior design, flowers, and gardens.
We had actually decided on doing a family lounge and game room on the terrace level of the house. Hi there. This is Ray Booth from the architecture and interiors firm McAlpin, and we were very honored to be invited to design a room at the FLOWER Showhouse. We actually worked down on the terrace level of the house, a beautiful Regency house that was designed by Peter Block Architecture. Really beautiful, beautiful home. The room itself was a large-scale room, really beautifully proportioned, tall ceilings, and a great steel and glass window and door system that overlooks a little terrace. And also a couple porthole windows that were located on one of the long walls of the room. Those porthole windows had been kind of echoed throughout the entire house. They're located on other floors of the house. So it was a little bit of a statement just to carry a consistency through the entire house. And we used it as a little bit of inspiration for us. So we had these 2 windows, which you'll see on the wall over the sofa in the room. And we had our friend and associate, Amy, at Blue Door Framing here in Nashville, construct these large and small scale convex mirrors. So we put them all together kind of in unison with those 2 porthole windows and created a little bit of a wall hanging. I won't say that it's art, but it's something that gives interest to the room, that kind of echoes some of the architecture in the decorative side of things. And the fact that they were mirrors, we were on the lower level, it allowed us to bounce some light around the room. So it actually kind of animated the space in a way. We actually continued that same kind of aesthetic decision when we looked at some of the other fixtures that we would include in the house. So if you look at the chandelier there in the center of the room over the seating area, this is a beautiful new chandelier from John Pomp, who I've always really enjoyed all of his work and have used it many times before. And trying to keep a little bit of that consistent theme through, there are these beautiful discs, also kind of echoing the porthole windows, that are cast in a beautiful glass, hand-cast glass. And those actually illuminate to provide the light source. All of that is held by a really architectural, fine bronze arm. And the whole light fixture is almost like a mobile or a sculpture hanging up in the ceiling. In addition, we knew that this being on the lower level, this room being on the lower level, we wanted to give it some depth and some richness and some texture. So we decided to wrap the room in a beautiful, tranquil, blue-green color and employed some Philip Jeffries wall covering. It gives kind of the perfect balance of color and some texture to the space, which really keeps it warm and layers it emotionally. We also knew, designing this room and envisioning it as a family lounge and game room, that we needed some really comfortable upholstery. So fortunately, I have designed a line with hickory chair, and in that line we have what's called the Surge sectional. Now this is a very large, deep seating sectional, incredibly comfortable, as hickory chair always nails the comfort. But we wanted to break up the bulk of the sofa, if you will. So we have the back main part of the sofa that there's like an interrupted section of the back, which is just an ottoman, and then the sofa continues on the other side, creating an L, if you will. And the idea was to, break up the bulk of such a heavy and big piece of upholstery. The ottoman can also be replaced with a walnut table if the users wanted to use it in that way. We also have kind of a composite of a table and some ottomans that are nested underneath the table. That table spins down to 18 inches at a cocktail height, or spins up to about 22 inches, which we like to call a tea height table. So it just gives a little diversity in height and use for the space. In addition, we've got 2 swivel chairs. These were from Anise Upholstery. It's called the Madrid chair, and these are very handsome and very comfortable pieces that kind of unify the 2 sections of the room. So we've got the seating area that we've been discussing. There's also a game area behind that. So these swivels are at that point where they could swivel to the game side, they could swivel to a movie, to a lounge and conversation, just as a great, very functional piece of upholstery. So as you look to the back of the room, this was really the area that we designated would be perfect for a game table. I have designed a table called the Cadence Center Table and Dining Table, which also works as a perfect game table. So we employed that as our surface to entertain and lay out your games and puzzles and what have you. You can see that the Cadence table has 3 beautiful cast concrete legs. It's actually a composite resin and concrete. And then there's a veneer pattern in the top of the table that has that same kind of triangulated pattern. The edge of the table has a beveled edge, which we like to do a lot of times on our tables so that the interface of the human forearm has a gentle place to rest and not a hard corner. Also at the table, we oftentimes like to employ a little banquette as a different way of having seating. Instead of all chairs, this banquette allows people to nest in there and get really comfortable. I envision somebody having their arm around the back, around a friend or a family member. So kind of a sweet way of creating a little more intimacy to the space. In addition, we found some vintage chairs, which give a little bit of character, a little bit of history to the space. All of those are upholstered in that deepest, richest blue that is also seen in the wall coverings of the room. Also in the room, we've got a tall etagere. This was to give some height, some diversity in the height for the room. It also becomes a great place for accessories and to feature some family photos in the such. Lastly, in that space, we've got a very large screen. This is something that we like to use where we're trying to break down the scale of a room. So it's a large upholstered scale, which kind of reaches its arms out and gathers all of the furniture on that side of the room together. It also was the perfect place to locate a commissioned painting that David Kidd did for us just for the show house, which is beautiful, he does these beautiful branches and leaves, almost silhouetted against a sky. So that was a real treat to get to feature that in the room. Lastly, there's a small gesture as you walk into the room. I know it's the thing we're ending our tour with today, but this is a beautiful and intriguing sculpture on a plinth. And it's done by Blake Weeks, who is one of our close friends and an artist that composes these creatures. And these creatures are composed of jewels and pearl beads and shells and beautiful wire that he composes all of this together. You're not sure exactly what kind of creature it is, but it's something of interest as an offering to people who enter the room. So once again, it was a real honor to be invited to work with Flower Magazine and all of the extraordinary, talented designers that participated in this show house. It really was very humbling once you saw all the rooms done to be included. So we're very grateful for that. And we really appreciate y'all taking the time to take a visual tour of our show house room and hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much.